The collection we're putting out this weekend has, as one of its major themes, mental health and mental illness and sort of dealing with these things in our everyday lives. So, to build off of that topic, I want to talk about the intersection of how people often say, like, you can't grow as a person unless you're outside of your comfort zone. First off, I think that's true, but not in the way that you might think. I think in general, when we think about being outside of our comfort zones and like growing, I used to think about it as like, okay, you can tiptoe over the line. Like this is the boundary of where your comfort zone is. You can just sort of dip your toe and do the thing and get back and then have learned your lesson. But I don't think that's true because I think where the actual moments of growth happen are when you like knowingly cross that line. Like starting your thing, starting whatever you want to do is that line, right? And then you just keep going way, way, way past that. And you keep your nose down and you just sort of grind through whatever you're working on. And then eventually you look up and you're out in the middle of nowhere. And that's really scary and a really hard thing to figure out how to deal with. And that moment right there where you look up and you don't know what you're doing, that's where the growth happens. That's where from that scariness, from that not understanding what to do, that's where you have to adapt and overcome those problems. But that's not a fun process. That's not good for you mentally a lot of the time, right? And yet we glorify this. This is like the standard par excellence is like to go way out there and do all this stuff. But that's not, I can say from experience, like being out there is terrifying. And in that moment, you have to either like rely on just like grit and perseverance or try and get help from people who are maybe not aware of the situation that you're in. I don't know. It's tough. But because of the theme of the collection that's coming out, it just made me think about it, especially because right now I'm in the middle of so many collection releases and all this stuff. But it's just interesting. You know, a lot of the things that we think of as being like good for self betterment or things like that are also at the same time like a double edged sword. Because like pushing yourself super hard to get what you want is good on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's like sometimes you have to take care of yourself. But if you're at that point where you're out there and you don't know what to do, I don't know. Maybe you can't look back. I don't know. What do you think?